Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. It's 11 a.m. here in the UK, and I will probably give 1 or 2 extra minutes just to let people come, people that are just a tiny bit late. And I will get back to you in a minute. Thank you for your patience. Okay, let's start. So again, hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today. The objective for today's webinar is to discuss the essential role that data plays in organization, and more specifically address the challenges around data quality and how to monitor it to mitigate risk. The idea behind this webinar is not to be too technical, but instead provide some context and introduce you to an ecosystem that will help you address these challenges. Before we start, I want to remind you that you can ask questions at any time during the webinar. We want, of course, this webinar to be as interactive as possible, so please don't hesitate. Let me see. Oh, there you go. That being said, I quickly wanted to introduce you to today's speakers. This being a joint webinar with our partner KNIME, I will leave Kilian introduce himself.
Yeah, hello also from my side, and thank you for the opportunity to join you on this webinar today. My name is Kilian Thiel, Head of Partnerships EMEA at KNIME, and I'm very happy to welcome every one of you to this joint webinar with our trusted partner, Midrill. I'm here to take any questions, any KNIME-related questions during and after the webinar, so please don't hesitate and use the Q&A tool of Microsoft Teams.
Thank you, Kilian. And on Midrill's side, so we have Blondine, who is one of our pre-sale consultants and will conduct the demo and talk a bit more about the use case. And myself, Julian, who is in charge of Midrill here in the UK. I wanted to give you a quick glance at today's agenda. So we are going to start by talking about what we call a data analytics ecosystem, and I'll tell you a bit more just in a second. Then we're going to discuss the context, benefit, and challenges of a data-driven organization, and of course the importance of data quality. And finally, as I just mentioned, we'll showcase an approach to monitoring data quality, which will follow up by a demo, which will be done by Blondine, and we'll keep some time at the end to answer any questions that you might have. So, a data analytics ecosystem. When we talk about a data analytics ecosystem, we mean a range of software, hardware, and expertise that works together to solve business problems with data analytics. And that's quite important because studies shows that the biggest challenges in becoming a data-driven organizations are insufficient technology and the lack of internal know-how. So, and the data analytic ecosystem is an answer to that. So I wanted to start by showing you this illustration of a data value lifecycle, which not only represent how we at Midrill approach most of our customers' data project, but shows how two solutions, KNIME and Tableau, works perfectly together to address the two main challenges that most people will face in their data journey, which are data quality and understanding your data to make decisions. So what does the value lifecycle of data mean? It represents all the steps and stages for creating value around data. The idea is to always start with the business questions and then find answers to these questions by leveraging data. And that data will need to go through the various stages that you see here, from collecting it, enriching it, bringing to some data science capabilities, all the way to creating various type of visualization to help people take actions. So that brings us to telling you a bit more about who we are and MyJoel, at least before we start talking about KNIME and Tableau. So you probably understood MyJoel is a consultancy firm, but we specialize in data analytics. We like to call ourselves data pure player because all that we do revolves around data and essentially helping our customer create value from their data. That can translate into a number of things like support in building a data analytics strategy, maybe help in choosing and deploying the right business intelligence solutions, project support, training, and so on. We've been in business for over 12 years, so as you can imagine, we had the opportunity to work on a wide range of data projects across various industries, departments, and you can see some example here, but this is the expertise that we aim to bring and share with our customer when we're working on their data projects. So that's it on MyJoel in a nutshell, and I will now leave Killian introduce you to KNIME.
Yeah, happy to give you a quick introduction of KNIME. The KNIME software ecosystem consists of two parts, the KNIME Analytics platform on the left-hand side and the KNIME server on the right-hand side. The KNIME Analytics platform is the client tool, or the desktop if you like, and it's a platform that allows you to visually create workflows for your analytics solution. So this platform, this visual platform, allows you to build your solutions, to develop your solutions. The KNIME server on the right-hand side is a platform that allows you to productionize these solutions, to upload these solutions, collaborate as part of a team on your workflows, schedule them, productionize them, and make them available also to a variety of business users and deploy them on the server. The server is our commercial offering, and the analytics platform is open source, so you can simply go to the website, download it, and get started right away. The KNIME Analytics platform covers the whole data science lifecycle from end to end. This means you have, we call them nodes. These are basically operators that perform specific operations on your data. And these nodes allow you to connect to various data sources. This could be reading data from files of various file formats like Excel files, CSV files, but also connecting to databases, connecting to the cloud or to other web services, for example, to download the data. Then with the KNIME Analytics platform, you can transform the data. You can do lots of data prep. You can build predictive models, and you can do advanced analytics. And then you can also deploy the data, for example, write the data back to cloud or to files or to other systems like databases. We try to be as integrative as possible. This means, of course, we bring a lot of native implemented algorithms for your data analytics or data prep functionality, but we also integrate with many other systems, best of breed systems out there in the market. On the top left corner, you see a variety of data sources that is possible to connect to from within KNIME, for example, Salesforce, various databases, MongoDB, but also Twitter or other cloud-based systems, and pull data into KNIME. There are a lot of native implemented machine learning and AI operators available in KNIME, but on top of that, we also have a TensorFlow and a Keras integration, an H2O integration, Python and R if you like to script and code. But of course, you don't need to. You can stick in your visual environment and create visually your solutions. It's possible to run KNIME in the cloud, to access services on the cloud, or to pull data from the cloud. And then at the other end of the spectrum, and I think this is the important part here for this webinar, with KNIME it's also possible to connect to BI systems like Power BI or Tableau. And this means you can pull data together from various sources, do some data prep, and then and then copy or push that data to Tableau for great visualization and dashboarding.
Thank you. Great. Thank you, Kilian, for telling us a bit more about KNIME. So moving on to the last piece of today's ecosystem, which is Tableau software. So you might be already familiar with the solution, or maybe you are already using it. But Tableau is one of the leading data visualization tool on the market. And to put it simply, its mission is to help people see and understand their data. So using a drag and drop technology with no coding necessary is quite easy to use and intuitive, meaning that it allows everyone, regardless of their technical background, to autonomously and quickly answer their questions with data by building charts and dashboards, and of course share them across organization or even external customers. So let's move on to talking about a data-driven organization. And of course, if you're here today, I'm sure that you are fully aware of the power of data and the benefits of being a data-driven organization. But so this might be a bit of a refresher, but I really wanted to highlight three main benefits of being data-driven across almost virtually any industries or department. And the first one is essentially giving people access to insight, meaning giving people the ability to predict changing market trends and of course respond accordingly, giving those people more agility. Second, make faster and very importantly more confident decision is the ability to look at the data and take decision not only based on the information in front of you, but also on your own experience. It's kind of moving away from taking decision on gut feeling, but using that gut feeling in association with the data in front of you. And finally, making better strategic decisions. So the ability to listen to your customer or maybe the market in order to improve the product and services that you offer to your customers. Now that we've discussed kind of the general aspect of being data-driven, I wanted to focus on the specificities of the financial and insurance sector. And we've decided today to summarize it or structure it around four main pillars. The first one being around generating growth. Today, the financial insurance sector is a mature market and competitive market, and this industry needs to find new ways to generate growth. So we can think of example like, well, of course, using data to better understand their customers and build loyalty. We can think of the duo of marketing and sales, where maybe the marketing would build campaigns, they would analyze the results, build analytical dashboard that they could share to the sales team so that they can target the right customer, of course, with the right products. The second pillar of scope, which is a big focus in today's financial insurance sector, is of course to be compliant with all the various regulation and laws that surrounds the use of data. When we hear legislations around data, we automatically think about RGPD, BCBS 239, or regulations around knowing your customers or KYC, which I'm sure a lot of you are quite familiar with. A third area we wanted to highlight today is operational efficiency. And this is not a new concern, of course. We've been looking at simplifying process for a long time, but the role of data can really help you monitor the organization much more finely to bring more agility to a number of different existing operational models. Example of that can be analyzing operational efficiency of IT projects or different departments. And essentially the ability to understand, analyze, and put in place a clear and actionable course of actions. And finally, the last point I wanted to bring up today is the use of data to proactively monitor and manage risk. So of course, we're going to talk about that today a lot around when we're talking about data quality. So for instances, the ability to build data models around risk scoring to help a business preventing fraud, or as I just mentioned, analyze the data quality to prevent the risk of making bad decisions. So once we are aware of the benefits of becoming data-driven, as we just looked at now, it's quite easy to understand the risk of working with bad data for an organization, from slowing down the decision-making process to simply making the wrong decisions, and of course, all the way up to potential harmful financial or legal impact or consequences for the business. So naturally, measuring data quality has become critical for organization, but it's quite challenging, and the explosive growth of data is only making the problem worse or even more challenging. So we're talking about dealing with a variety of sources who comes from a different system, who has different structures. We can think about, when the businesses acquire new businesses, they bring with them different legacy system, and the difficulty to bringing all those data together to be able to analyze them and find impactful insights. There's also the errors coming from data being entered, edited, or manipulated by people, issues or challenges around the lack of automation, or the difficulty in defining the right KPIs. All those things are challenges that prevent people from monitoring the data quality. So of course, we didn't want to let you hang like this, and we wanted to share with you a framework to help you start and address the challenges around monitoring and cleaning your data. We, of course, won't be able to cover everything within the webinar, but at least give you, as I mentioned, kind of a framework. And like most difficult tasks, it is beneficial to split the work into smaller sections, which is what you're seeing here. We've split the approach into four main focus area that can be addressed individually. And we have the governance and infrastructure section, which is about building and maintaining a data and IT architecture that can support governance capabilities. We have the data aggregation, which we're going to discuss a little bit later during the use case, specifically on some of the KPIs like accuracy and integrity around data, or completeness, data lineage, and so on. There's the reporting section, meaning the ability to present the right information to the right person at the right time, and having a review ecosystem, the ability to review periodically depending on your business need, the quality of your data, and of course have a holistic view on the matter. And I just mentioned the following section of this webinar, we will focus on addressing the two areas of data aggregation and reporting. And for that, we are going to leverage the ecosystem that we've talked about earlier, which comprises of KNIME for making data reliable, for helping organization and people working with data collect the data, clean the data, essentially the whole preparation phase of the data. And then use Tableau Desktop to analyze, build charts, build dashboard from the data that we made reliable, and Tableau Server, which will help us share those insights to the relevant people so that they can take meaningful actions. So that's it for my part. I will now let Blondine, take over, who will discuss the use case and make the demo. Blondine, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, and thank you, Julien and Kilian. So in this demo, we'll go into Tableau to see a data quality dashboard, and also in KNIME to see how the data have been prepared behind. So the use case, Julien, can you? Yeah, thank you. So the use case we'll discuss is about a credit institution. This institution grants loans to more than 1,000 customers. This is a B2B enterprise because the customers are companies. And what this institution wanted to achieve was to monitor data quality to anticipate, to control the global risk on loans, outstanding loans, but also upcoming loans. So the solution was to build a dashboard to give a synthetic vision of the main data quality KPIs according to different viewpoints. And with this kind of solution, you can explore and analyze data dynamically and interactively, and you can detect proactive action to manage or prevent risk. So the KPIs that have been chosen are the completeness, the compliance and integrity of the data. Completeness means that no important data is missing. Compliance is about legal aspects, e-privacy, BCBS, not to grant credit to companies classified as terrorist company, for example, or money laundering. Integrity is about consistency of the data. So no contradiction should exist in the data. Correct formats should be applied and so on. The other value we will follow is the institution exposure. This is the amount that the institution risks losing if the company is not able to pay. So the dashboard will display the KPIs and the exposure among different criteria as companies rating, period since last audit, business line and country. And finally, the dashboard will allow to easily identify the client at risk. So let me show you now the dashboard. You should now be able to see my screen. So this is an example of dashboard built for the credit institution. More precisely, this is a small data journal. So you see the data journal, because the data is a little bit scripted. At the top, you find the 3 KPIs we discussed earlier, then the exposure of the institution, and at the bottom, the list of the companies at risk. Through the dashboard, the logic of the color is still the same. In red, it's something you have to pay attention to. It can be some kind of warning, whereas in blue, everything's okay, and gray is in the middle. So let's have a look first at the KPIs. First, the completeness that will verify that no important data is missing. By important, I mean it can be an information that will have a direct impact on the repayment capacity. So globally, data are well filled. There is little red. 170 companies have data with less than 75% completeness. And you see that UCall in the list below, UCall with 5 million euro exposure have data with missing value. So this can be a point to verify. About compliance, almost a quarter of the exposure, as you can see here, is linked to data that are not compliant. And that can be annoying because, as you know, it's double trouble. If you lend money to suspicious company, for example, it's risky, of course, and it can also legally cost the institution a lot of money that will have to pay a fine because they don't respect the rules. So it would be a good thing to have a look at the 340 client companies to see what can be done. For example, with revealing with a high exposure. Looking at the last KPI, it seems that more than a quarter of the exposure have data that don't respect integrity. The data are not consistent, which is serious because it means that estimation, even risk calculation, are made on information about the companies that are not the good ones. So probably there is an effort to be done here too. Then we can ask the question, are those KPIs linked together? Well, it seems easier to have to achieve completeness, but if you have data that are not well filled, you see you have got a high chance to have compliance and integrity issue. Now let's move on to the exposure of the institution. And we will find the same logic through each graphics with the square, triangle, and circle, round. The larger the shape, the higher the exposure. So globally, data concerning companies rated A or B are well filled. They respect compliance and integrity, which is not the case for data you see here, rated C or D. The data on average have problem of compliance and integrity. Looking at the chart on the right, we notice that the global quality of the data are better when an audit of the company has been realized recently. And now if we consider the exposure by business line, you can see at first glance that the business line corporate finance here is globally in red for completeness, compliance, and integrity. And that's a crucial information because as you can see, corporate finance also have the highest exposure. So if you have to focus on a business line, I would say this will be a good idea to focus on this one. So now let's find concretely the companies at risk you'd like to act on first to prioritize. You can combine all the criteria you want. For example, I would like to focus on the companies with last audit since more than 12 months, and also on the business line corporate finance, like we saw just before. So I see the companies are located in the United States with a high exposure, also in Europe, in France also. So if I look more precisely, I can see Aero Energy in the US, for example, with 26 million euro exposure, while its data integrity is not correct. And Revlin, here, a French company, has a great exposure to its data integrity is even worse, with 40% integrity. And compliance, you can see here, so it's the same. And it's the same for Formal Corp in the UK. So these companies put the credit institution in danger. And this would certainly be a good idea to have a look at them immediately. This can be a corrective action. So as an intermediate conclusion, this is just an example No need to be a data analyst nor an expert to use this dashboard. But thanks to it, I have been able to have an overview of the quality of the data, to measure the risk, how the institution is exposed, and also to identify some actions to be carried out. So it's really easy to display any information you want in a meaningful way, thanks to Tableau, provided you have the data. And that is the second subject of this demo, because when you've got credit data, you don't have directly KPIs. You don't have the completeness, compliance, integrity rates. You need to access different data sources. You need to compute, compare data, and even if some features can be done directly in Tableau, if only for the performance, it's always better to do it outside, upstream, thanks to a dedicated tool like KNIME. So let me show you how it works in KNIME. So this is KNIME with a workflow already here. So let me take let me take you a quick tour on this interface. So in the center, you've got the Canva. This is workspace. This is where you're going to build the workflow, which is a succession, as you can see, of nodes linked together, representing the data evolving from node to node. One node is an individual task. You can see on the left side and at the bottom some windows, some secondary windows. You can move them wherever you want, and like this. So on the top left corner, you've got the KNIME Explorer, which is a repository where you can gather all your information, all the information needed for the project. So it can be data sources or Excel file. And I can show you, for example, with the triangle, you've got all the workflow. So for example, we can open another one, and you can move from one to one like this. Okay. Then at the bottom, you've got the, yes, about the KNIME Explorer. This can be a repository server or simply a folder on your computer. And now at the bottom, you've got the node repository, which is basically your toolbox. You're gonna look for nodes in it, and you're gonna take the nodes and drag and drop them onto the Canva. So for memory, as Kilian said, KNIME is a data preparation tool that allows you to access different data sources, transform, clean, merge, enrich the data, and export them. And for example, you can export to a data visualization tool like Tableau. So also KNIME offers nodes for analytics. You can see some of them here. And now if I want to look at a node that filter a column, I just tap here, filter, and find the node that I drag and drop onto the Canva. There are other windows, like for example, the outline here. Imagine you've got a large workflow. Then you can go from one place to another with the outline window. And you've got also the console. The console will, you will have a message of each of your action, and also the warning and error when it happens. So it will help you to solve problems sometimes. So now let's have a look at our data preparation workflow, the one used to prepare data for the dashboard you saw earlier. So I would just, yeah, like this. So on the left, you've got 3 boxes representing 3 access to external data. By first reading a JSON file to retrieve company's data from CRM, by a call here to an API to get official data about the companies, or simply by reading different files from a repository to verify, for example, that the company is not present on a blacklist. So let me just focus on the gray part where you first load the company. So I will show you, you just have to drag and drop the Excel node and execute, and you find the companies here that are loaded. So you can see everywhere you can annotate, you can make all the comments you want, and it helps to maintain the workflow. So if we continue, here we've got a string manipulation node. I open it to show you the parameter. So it just a combination, it will build a URL thanks to a string, a URL strings, and also the company's name, where we have replaced the space character with another one that is accepted for URL. And with this URL, we can call the API to ask an official site about companies. Then you see here that we have some nodes that have been compressed in a meta node. Okay, so we are not gonna go into the details, but so it can facilitate the reading to have those kind of nodes. And now that we've got all the data, you can join them together thanks to joiner nodes, and begin computing some metrics, some KPIs, remember. So for completeness, we'd like to know how many important data are missing, and this can be done through the column aggregator node that will just create a column with the count of missing data. And then we can get the percentage of missing data. And one step by another, we will compute all the needed metrics. For integrity, for example, we will compare data, apply forward, and so on. And now that all the data are ready, this is possible to simply export it in the format you want, for example, an hyper file for Tableau. So you see, KNIME is a very easy tool to use, to maintain. You never break anything. You keep track of everything, which is important for GDPR, for example. So now I will go back to the presentation. With this slide. Sorry. So as a conclusion, we've prepared data with KNIME and use them in Tableau. With both of them, we've created a monitoring dashboard, allowing the quality of the data to be checked at any time. So you see here the workflow that has been used and the dashboard that we just seen. So thank you for your attention. Hope you enjoyed. And Julien, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Blandine, for this. So I think the next stage now is just to answer a few questions. So if you haven't had the opportunity to ask a question, please do so. I saw that there was a number of questions asked that we've published and answered. One question was as well about how easy it is to learn how to use those two solutions. And I thought it was interesting questions, and coming back to, the importance of using technology and having the expertise or the internal know-how. You have to keep in mind that today we've focused on the story and the analysis more than show you how to use the solution, but I can't emphasize enough how these tools were designed so that everyone can use them. And like most tools, there is a learning curve, but there's also those two solutions offers a lot of free resources to help you build knowledge around those tools. And there was a questions around the differences around Power BI, Tableau software, and to some extent they all do kind of the same thing. But one of the reasons why we very much enjoy Tableau software is for its ecosystem and all the resources that exist today that can support the user to use the tool autonomously. And that being said, you can find all of that through the hub of KNIME, so it kind of offers that in the same way as well. Other question was around whether this recording will be available. We will send you a link with the workflow as well as the dashboards and the recording. We might take, I don't know if there's a question you want to take, Kilian. Maybe we'll take one. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There is one question, and that goes also into the direction of how KNIME and Tableau can be connected. And one nice thing that you can do with the KNIME server and Tableau is the KNIME server offers a REST API, and through the REST API you can basically trigger the execution of every single workflow on that server. This means if you have a Tableau dashboard and you have a link or a button in the Tableau dashboard, you can by clicking on that button, you can trigger an HTTP request to the KNIME server to trigger the execution of a workflow. On the KNIME side, the workflow will be executed, can pull data together and prepare a clean data set, and then send the data with the send data to Tableau server node back to the server to be again visualized. So you can basically, by the click of a button in Tableau, trigger the the new data prep on which is then processed on the KNIME server and which pushes back the new clean data set for your into your Tableau dashboard for visualization. So this is a great way of interacting or connecting both systems and allowing interactions on both sides.
Great, thank you, Kilian, for this information. I'm conscious about the time, so I think if there's any more questions, we will probably answer them privately. Please make sure that you've asked a question with your name so we can recognize you and come back to you in a timely manner. Just before we let you go, I just wanted to mention an initiative that we call My Dual Doctor, where essentially you can book a one-to-one conversation, a chat with one of our experts. This is completely free, and you can get support around KNIME, around Tableau, or just if you have a question around any other data-related topic. My Dual Doctor is easy to book through our website, and once again is completely free. Just before, once again, we try to publish as much as possible some resources to help you learn about those different solutions and keep awareness around the market trends. And there's an upcoming webinar that I think you might be interested, which is going to be done with by KNIME and another partner, which is how to automate financial audits for SAP with KNIME, where they're going to present a new connector to connect KNIME and SAP. So I thought that might be of interest to you guys or to the people that are attending this webinar. And this will take place on Tuesday, 29th of June. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending this webinar. This is the end, and have a great day and see you soon. Thank you.